Okay, and it's having me hit got it. Hi, everybody. It's good to be back. Um, I heard that song. It was attached to a video that I saw about the recent fires in Lahaina in Hawaii. And even before I heard the song, I really struggled with this particular fire. You know, we've been hearing about fires all over the world, actually, in Spain and Canada. And even Canada, the fires have impacted us here. Um, so I have some kind of connection with Hawaii. I had been to Maui in the past, and I actually camped I took my tent and camped. One park was at a black sand beach, and another was near Seven Pools, which is in Hana. And years ago, I did this meditation where you see who your guides are, your team. And one of them was this Hawaiian lady. So I don't know, whenever I would go there, I would just feel this connection. And I actually saw the end of a rainbow in Hana, which I didn't even know was possible. So it's just such a spiritual place, particularly Hana and other places in Hawaii. And I was just so brokenhearted by, not knowing how many people have died and all of that. So I found that since the pandemic, I've been paying more attention to what's going on in the world. And I'm finding that I'm getting upset more because I wasn't paying attention that much before. So it's not just Lahaina. I get wrapped up in these things like what's happening in New York City with right outside Roosevelt Hotel and, the people that are coming into our country and they have no place to go. They're sleeping on the street. And then I hear about Philadelphia and all the fentanyl crisis that's going on there. Believe me, I'm going to get to happier times here, but I want to have us look at what's happening and how we get caught up in it. And then we see these videos about all the homelessness in California, and it's just growing. And so our hearts are, if we're paying attention to any of this stuff, our hearts can get heavy from this. Now, I remember when I was in elementary school, I can remember my heart being so open and being concerned about a couple of people in my classes who were what I would call poor. And I mean, we weren't rich by any means, but we always had enough. Of course, except when my siblings would go into the refrigerator and eat everything I wanted. But there was always plenty, you know, we didn't have to worry. So my heart would break open, but then it's like I started shutting down. We stop thinking about these things. We start getting into the adult kind of, taking care of our children if we have kids and bills to pay and partners and, all of that. Our mind gets all into the daily life. And we close our heart because it's too much and because we're too busy. And there's brain studies that show that we're hardwired to focus on problems at the expense of a positive vision. So we're surrounded by things, on TV and, on the internet and on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, but, I know people that are. and we're surrounded by these things. And so our hearts are being impacted on a regular basis if we're looking at any of this stuff, or just in our daily lives where we see people who are just walking around, they don't look like they have joy in their hearts. And so our hearts are being bombarded a lot. So I want to just open it up for a few minutes for anybody to talk about, what they're experiencing in life or on the internet or that's impacting their heart. And then we'll go into looking at it spiritually, you know, and and more about what the song talks about. So is there anyone that would like to share about what's going on in the world that's impacting your heart? So just raise your hand so I know. Nobody? Yes, yes, yes.
I was
Yeah.
hoping somebody else would look like Jody did something there, but
Oh, she's still
uh,
muted.
I mean, a lot of us, the friends that I know, are having physical problems, myself included.
Yeah.
So then, when COVID was around, I like to blame it on the Schumann residents, whoever that guy
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Resonance, not residence. I'm a Schumann resident in the Schumann resonance. And um, yeah, it's like ex-military, you like to stay informed, but it's almost impossible to look at anything on the news because it just grabs you. And the news is the news. There's nothing really ever good. It used to be once in a while they'd have a good news story. I don't even see those anymore. You know, heroes.
Right.
You know, but it.
Well, did you ever meet Jerry? She started something called Good News Network, GNN instead of CNN. So she has a website, I believe, still.
Well, we made an attempt to do that on our own Zoom call because part of the call used to be eh, when the talk was over, tell me something good. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
another portion where you could report a hero, and I would put it, a little accolade to the person who's doing something in the community or whatever. So that's been kind of
Yeah.
quiet, those two areas of the newsletter. But spiritually, I keep getting advice to center myself and meditate and go back
Yes.
to the core, go back to my grounding in prayer and meditation. And it's so difficult. I'm having a tough time getting centered. So that's kind of the
Yeah.
physical things are overbearing sometimes, and I'm having a rough time.
So we'll talk about it a little bit later, but one of the things that's happening is we're going through a major shift on the earth plane. We're going through a movement from fear to love, and a lot of things are coming up to the surface to be cleansed. Um, so it's, I talk to other people who are really having a hard time meditating right now. And I don't really understand the Schumann resonance. Like I've seen the pictures of it, and somebody told me when it's white, that's when you have to be concerned. But I have talked to people when I've been off balance, like really having a hard time meditating, that stuff. And they say it's off, the Schumann resonance is off the chart. Um, so people understand what that is. Can you just give a one sentence? Is that like the frequency of the earth? Is that what that is, Neil?
Yeah, basically, remember some of you remember the harmonic convergence in the '80s, planetary alignment, whatever. Apparently, you can measure with sophisticated equipment a vibratory rate in hertz of the Earth, and for In the 80s, before the harmonic conversions, it was like 7.5 hertz. And then it started going up after the convergence or planetary alignment or whatever we want to call it to 7.8 to 8.5 to 9 to 10. It's almost like metaphysically the Earth is ascending into a
Right.
higher
Hmm.
vibratory rate.
Yeah.
And when you're in fear, you lower your vibratory rate back
Hmm.
to 7 something when the Earth is now at 10. And that does tremendous things to the body health wise. You just feel disconnected, you feel
Right.
stressed. That's in a nutshell what I know about the harmonic
Okay.
convergence and
Thank you.
Schumann.
So, does anyone else want to share before we go on? You're still
Yes,
muted, Jody.
I'm
Oh, there
okay.
you go. I can hear
All
you
right,
now.
all right. I thought I unmuted. Okay. The first thing I thought of when you said something that you know is on your heart, how your heart is affected, is just everywhere. If I go to, I stopped watching news where people talk, and
Hmm.
I read my news now,
Right. Yes.
and I go to different sources. It's just then I can put my own self into it. I don't have a person I have to go through, but it's always the climate kinds of things. You
Hmm.
know, the climate is doing this, the climate is doing that. This is going to happen. That is going to happen. And I do find it sometimes difficult to reframe all that. And just this morning, I was looking at headlines, and I hadn't had a chance to read the stories, but the headline I saw was um, expect extreme heat and lots of fires in Australia this summer, coming up
Okay.
this summer. But right underneath of it, and you might appreciate it, and you might already know this, but the next headline was 150-year-old banyan tree in Maui that was burned in the fire is
Hmm.
starting to show leaves. It's starting to
Yes,
sprout
it's
leaves. Yeah.
sprouting leaves. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I said, well, that's what I need to do to find,
Yeah.
some the balance of something like that to remind myself. But yeah, it is that it seems to be no matter if you, um, I don't know, it's the agenda that's infiltrated more things. Talking to a friend, looking at the news, watching a drama show. It's the climate issue or whatever seems to come up,
Right.
all the time, and I don't know how to react to it. Yeah.
So, two things. One is when I talked about the brain studies, what they said is it only takes 15 seconds to focus on positive and a grateful heart for you to rewire your neurons. So, Spirit has told me over and over again that when I look at the news, that afterwards do something like Ho'oponopono or, do like imagine I'm under a waterfall and cleansing myself and it going into the earth. So I think that it's important to take care of ourselves in these times. Um, and we're going to talk about, the song, taking care of other people too, by opening our hearts again, but opening our hearts not from pain, but from love. So, and then the other thing I want to say is, when you mentioned the word agenda. So the roofer we have that came and replaced the roof is from Hawaii. He's from Maui. His father is 100% Hawaiian. They live in Hana. But Michael lives here. And, he does a lot of the handy stuff around the house. And I just, we just talk, and I had texted him Your heart must be breaking, that sort of thing. Not knowing, I knew he was in, visiting family, but I didn't know that he actually got there the days the fire started. So he couldn't contact me until he got back home. I think he was there for about a month. And he basically said that what we're being told isn't what's really happening in Lahaina, and that he thinks a lot more people are going to be found to have passed away, like maybe 1,000 or 2,000. And so he was there on the ground. You know, he's north of Lahaina. He saw the destruction when he flew over coming home. So, there is an agenda. And that's the other thing. I think sometimes the agenda isn't just a particular topic, but the agenda is to keep us in fear. And so we have to be really mindful and do things for ourselves after we hear something. And I forget to do, just the real quick, I'm sorry, please forgive me, please transmute whatever's in me, send into the light, thank you, I love you. Some people just leave out that big long sentence and make it short, or just a waterfall to cleanse ourselves. And maybe some of you just don't even dive into it, which is probably a very smart thing, but I have gotten into this habit. Well, what happened is that I realized in meditation that I have no idea what God's plan is. Like, I have no idea. And so I get caught up in these fires, or the, you know, the people walking around like zombies because they're on fentanyl, or the homelessness, or, the migrants living in the street. And this aha just came in meditation. And it was like, I have no idea. Because I've been reading these books, which I'm going to go into in a little bit, but I want to look at the song first. But the books are talking about this time that we're going through of a shift in consciousness and in vibration. So the song says, somebody's down to their last dime. And, groceries right now are outrageous, and inflation, and somebody's running out of time. We had somebody most of us know just pass away a couple of days ago, Gretchen's husband. And it says not too far from here, and that wasn't too far from him here. I knew him when I was attending Unity of Fairfax. Somebody has nowhere else to go. We know people who are stuck in situations, whether marriages or financial or whatever, they have nowhere else to go, and they're really having a hard time. Somebody just needs a little hope. When I talked to you last time, I talked about how in the middle of the pandemic, I just got this idea that I would just start talking to people. People weren't looking at each other. And I just started talking to people. And oh my gosh, I would have conversations out in the parking lot for half an hour about God. It was just beautiful, complete strangers. I may not know their name, but I'm praying just the same, that you'll use me, Lord, to wipe away the tears, because somebody's crying not too far from here. Somebody's troubled and confused. Somebody's got nothing left to lose, not too far from here. Somebody's forgotten how to trust. Somebody's dying for love, not too far from here. It may be a stranger's face, but I'm praying for your grace to move in me and take away the fear, because somebody's hurting not too far from here. Help me, Lord, not to turn away from pain. Help me not to rest while those around me weep. Give me your strength and compassion when somebody finds the road of life too steep. Now I'm letting down my guard and I'm opening my heart. Help me speak your love to every needful ear. Someone is waiting, not too far from here. So in this conversation, it was really beautiful because I was reminded of what Spirit said, that we have to take care of ourselves before we can help others. So again, we see somebody, and instead of opening our heart in pain, we open our hearts in love. In the book Resurrection, so I talked about these books that I've been reading. Paul Selig has written these books, or they've come through him. And for me, they're very much like A Course in Miracles, but easier to comprehend. And I'm currently on the book called Resurrection, which is the 10th book. And for years now, I've just been cycling through the books. And then when a new one comes, I read that. So, I'll read the first 9 books again, or when it was the first one, I'd read the first one a couple times, and then I just keep going through. But they've been talking about this shift for years, that what's happening is the lies are being revealed. The basis, parts of our world that are based on fear, structures and things that have been based on fear, that's being revealed, that they're based on fear. And things are shifting so that, as Neil was saying, this human resonance, the upgrading of consciousness and the vibration of the planet, that as that's happening, we're going to see more and more of this. And to not fall into fear or into upset like I was doing around all these things that are happening in the world, but to know that God has a plan and we are moving more and more towards love. So in the book Resurrection, it says, separation from God and each other is the basis of what we see outpictured. The times you sit in now are about release of an idea born in separation. And for me, fear is the same as separation. Fear is what creates separation. So the times you sit in now are about release of an idea born in separation, that you are singular, only one, and not of a collective. The refusal to agree to being of a collective gives you a splinter to hold onto in this wave of change, whereas your agreement to the well-being of the whole in times of transition provides you a raft for many. The change that is being undergone now by humanity is of a magnitude that you have not seen for thousands of years. Some people think we're actually in a spiritual war, that we're in an energetic war between fear and love, between dark and light. And I believe that whatever's going on, whether it's a spiritual war, I believe God's in charge. And that we can move from fear into love as individuals and help this process along its way. Now, Gloria talked about Africa and the Maasai, was it? So I have a little story that we can learn from. An anthropologist played a game with some children of an African tribe. He placed a basket of fruit under a tree and told them that the first one to get there would win the basket, the whole basket. When he gave them the start signal, he was surprised that they simply walked together holding hands until they reached the tree and shared the fruit. When he asked them why they did that, they answered, and I don't know if you know this word and if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Ubuntu. They said, how can one of us be happy while the rest are miserable? And supposedly that word means I am because we are. Okay, I'm getting a nod there. So we can learn from these children who haven't been, subjected to all the things that we've been subjected to, that haven't, I'm guessing, haven't had, the TV stuff that we have, or um, the Facebook, and I'm not saying Facebook's bad. There's a lot of good things, but we've been conditioned. And whether this story is true or not, to me, it's showing the innocence of the unconditioned, and that it's a beautiful way for us to look at life. Coming into this place of wholeness. And, in unity, we know that consciousness is one, that we're all connected. But to bring that into our daily life, to really see that there is a divine plan, and that whatever's happening, as horrible as it is, what's God's part in it? Is it to wake us up? Is it to, help the fearful? Is it to bring us to love what we see? Is it to change us from a heart that opened to fear and pain, or to a heart that opens in love? So in Resurrection, it also says, now to know someone in love is not to judge them, but to agree to their essence, their true self, or the Christ that expresses as them. And Ralph Waldo Trine states, the more one loves, the nearer he approaches to God. For God is the spirit of infinite love. And when we come into the realization of our oneness with this infinite spirit, then divine love so fills us, enriching our own lives. From there, it flows out to enrich the life of all the world. So our connection with the divine brings forth this divine love, which is bigger and broader and more vast than anything we can imagine. And to come from that place of our connection with the divine, where we really do feel like we're in this together, we're sons and daughters of the divine. Whenever we put one caring foot forward, God uses it, sustains it, and blesses us. And again, the song says, please help me to be of service to others. Please help me to love. Please help me to, what we've come to is love from this divine love. So taking care of ourselves, when our hearts are heavy, doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves so that we can be there for others. taking time to connect with the divine, with the Holy Spirit in meditation, in times together like this community. I'm just so amazed at how you all have stuck together. It's a beautiful thing, and it brings tears to my eyes that you have this still. So I have been doing some workshops for people for this other spiritual group that I'm involved in. And I'm not, it, they come and they don't have to pay anything. And I've done 3 now. I just did 1 yesterday. And the things that they talk about in the song, I see when I do these. I see people who are running out of time, or people whose hearts are heavy, or all these things. And I'm blessed that the Holy Spirit works through me to bring peace, to bring understanding. And it's just so rewarding. And we may not be able to impact all of humanity, but because we're a part of the whole, anytime we focus on the divine love inside of us, we're making a difference to this planet. We are lifting the vibration every time we take care of ourselves so that we can express that divine love. We're moving it along. We're doing God's work. Even if it's just smiling at somebody and saying hi in the grocery store, and you can tell they're still in fear of COVID or fear of something that's happening in the world, and you can just say hi. Just have their eyes look at you so that they know someone cares enough just to recognize them. Even that is amazingly beautiful for people. So I'm going to finish with a poem by Emily Dickinson. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life from aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. God wants to move through us, really wants to move through us, and regularly lets me know that I have to take care of myself to be able to do that. And so there are days when I just kind of take care of myself. We're blessed to have a spiritual knowledge, wisdom that we can share with others. And next, I'm going to take us through a guided meditation that I do on a regular basis. So I'm going to be reading it. But it's about sending love to the planet. So let's prepare for meditation. And I can't remember, Neil, if we talked about some music in the background this time. You had some ocean music last time? No? Okay, it's all right. No worries. So let's just close our eyes and take some deep breaths and prepare. Relax and let go. Be still in mind and emotions, and bring the focus of your attention to your heart center, where the permanent atom of universal love is located. Say to yourself, I am love. I am loved. I am loving. I feel the love vibration in my heart. I feel it expanding throughout my body. All there is love, love, love. In your mind's eye, see that atom of universal love in your heart center. Imagine it as a shining crystal of love, a glistening jewel of love. Contemplate it. Focus on the love with clarity of vision. And know that all the love in the universe is concentrated right there within you. Now in your imagination, see it slowly open to release its light. See the radiant rays begin to flow, moving and filling your entire energy field. Your mind, your feelings, your body. See yourself as a radiating center of divine love. See the love essence radiating and filling the room where you are, and continuing to flow in streams of golden light, moving out across the land to encircle the planet. See the radiance of your permanent atom of universal love flowing like a mighty stream, and see this world filled with a light of love. Now say to yourself, I am radiant. I am universal love in radiant expression. I now love as I have never loved before in my life. I silently, powerfully, and intensely radiate my love, and I send it everywhere without exception. I see it flowing into my family, my loved ones. I see the cosmic rays of love going before me to envelop and permeate everyone in my consciousness. Those who have rejected me, who have hurt me, who have not recognized my true worth. I send my love to you without conditions attached. I love you for who and what you are. I love without exception. I am the mighty power of God's love in radiant expression. And I let my love go before me to heal and harmonize every condition in my life. Spirit of the living God within, I am your love. I am your love in expression. And I keep this love vibration in my heart and thoughts of love in my mind. Moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. For I know that as I begin to love more and more, every limitation in my life vanishes and my personal world becomes whole and joyous. And the light is growing and spreading. My light of love is joining with others who have opened the crystal of love, and together we are saturating this world with love. The healing has begun. It is happening now. And I am doing my part to dissolve the limitations of humankind and restore the world to sanity. I love as I have never loved before. I can love because I know who and what I am. I am love. And I will never hold back my love. I will let it forever flow unconditionally, universally, divinely, powerfully, intensely. I am love. And I rest now in the silence, thinking only of the love I am and the love I give and the love I receive. All there is love. Father, we thank you for your love. We thank you for placing your divine love in our hearts so that we can embrace it and imbue it to the world. Guide us to be your love, your forgiveness, that we may bless others as we are blessed in return by this beautiful love you have placed in our hearts. Bless each of us as we go forward into our lives. Help us to know you and to let go of any sense of separation, that we may become one with you. We thank you for the awakening that is happening on this planet. And your guidance and love. And so it is. Amen.